Welcome back to the Seal of Civic Readiness. And what is that? Is how are you making your impact? How do we get young people to get outside and make a difference? I am with, you don't understand. Let me tell you about this young lady. Now, I got a phone call to say there is another Tammy in the making who is running for school board in Elmont. And she is fierce. I said, "What's her name?" There's like Stephanie Douglas. And I said, okay, I'm gonna stroll on Instagram and let me try to find her. And when I read up on your stance and also knowing that you are a Elmont alumni and your passion is education and uplifting the youth, I said, "Oh, I have to have her." And of course, my guest, my right hand, someone who helped us through the mentoring girls program,
Yes.
Girls Pride,
Yes.
who was my visual, my photographer, videographer. We have Miss Tamar, Tammy Bailey. That's just a Miss Bailey. Okay. You both are not only, like I said, we're the sandwich generation, and we watched our parents fight and struggle and fulfill their dreams of not only home ownership, but also crossing over into a community like Elmont that was not always so friendly and inviting in their days, but we reaped that benefit of that struggle. Can you please just tell me, how are you making your civic impact? I already know you're board member, but just tell me a little bit about your journey.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So I'm really big on it takes a village, it takes a community. I had the honor of growing up in Elmont, started the youth group at my church, did an etiquette course, was the president at a local elementary when I was there, and really just came up and went through the system where we give back on service, right? All of what I do and all of what I believe in is the sense of community, the sense of giving back, the sense of turning back and uplifting those behind you. Mm-hmm. And a few years ago, I was like, you know what, maybe I should run for the school board position. I'm currently an educator, principal at a school not too far, pursuing my doctorate in educational leadership as well, and really believe in the youth. I truly believe that kids are our future, and just the power that they can really change anything, do anything they set their minds to, and really wanted to ensure that I'm educating myself, giving back to the overall community, but making sure that I'm becoming the best version of who I am. I felt as though I was educating and impacting students in other communities, but I didn't feel as though I was making it in the community that poured so much into me, right? I was involved in just a number of things, but I moved to California for some time after Howard, and I was like, I'm going to come back, and I just felt like I focused so much on work and advancing and being like, let me get this degree and that certification. And I was like, how do I give back and pour in my skills and resources within the community? So decided to run for the school board position. Super excited for the results of winning. The sense of community and collaboration, everyone coming together really showed up. And that was a story in itself, which we can get to momentarily. But that has been the journey.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And like when Tammy and I had the Girls Pride Project and watched these young ladies who were very shy. Mm-hmm. We did like a fashion show. Yes. They came out their shell. They did poetry. Yes. They came out their shell. It was amazing to see the vision and live through the vision. So my question for this clip is, modeling makes it real. So successful stories of community collaboration. When you think about community collaboration, how can you reinforce to students that civic actions can create visible change? Because we want them to get out there and be the change, but through community collaboration, how can you?
I have two stories. So it's funny. One of our Girls Pride girls were on a panel at the library on Monday. We had an HBCU
HBCU.
panel with Jamaica Square, and she was there. And so that's modeling, right? Because she was one of our girls who were shy, and she was on the panel. And then second, when I was working at Elmont, some of my kids, I would talk to them and just tell them the real. And we would talk politics. And this generation, Gen Z, they are so well informed that they asked to create a civic. So we created a youth civic with our kids. And even to this day, now they're in college, and most of them go to HBCUs. And if not in the HBCU, they're majoring in political science upstate and Dartmouth. And they said, we want to come back in the summer. And so last year we did a theater workshop. And even though it wasn't civic, but it was just them giving back to the community. So we actually did, for the entire month of July 2024, we did a workshop with the kids from 4th grade to 8th grade. And I just supervised them, and they, got the kids, and we worked, and I said, okay, then how are you going to do this? But they wanted to pour back into the kids because they saw some people from their community pouring back into them. Yes. So, and they didn't have to. At 18, 19 years old, they can have a summer job, but they, for free, took their time and made sure to pour into children. So it's that modeling and seeing that if someone cared about me, I should care about someone else, and paying it forward. And that's how I learned. I was a Girl Scout. I remember Carl McCall, I was like 9, 10 years old when he was running for governor, and my mother brought me along with making phone calls, and I was the president of my church choir, and I did Girls Pride, and I that's all I know. All I know is community. And so for me,
doing Juneteenth as well.
Yes, which Stephanie was on our planning committee, and so all I know is giving back and the love for my community. And so because that was modeled to me, it's like second nature for me to implement that for the next generation. And like I said, with my kids, they didn't know, like, it wasn't, I just was having conversation with them, and it piqued their interest. Like, I want to know more. How can I get more involved in the community? How can, like, I'm really upset about this, and I'm not learning this in school. So what adults can I talk to that's going to talk to me about what's going on in the world around me? So, yeah.
And it's like I said, it's the perfect intergenerational conversation, because we learn so much from our older adults, right? It's their wisdom, but then it's our energy.
Yes.
And it's how that story is being passed.
Yes.
Which is important. So I'm so happy that youth are coming to you. Even creating a youth civic program is amazing. So yes, this is collaboration. And now I can tell the youth there are organizations in the community that's tailored to you for your voice to be heard, and your voice matters. I love it. Collaboration, civic action, creating visible change. What advice can you give the next generation?
Absolutely. I want to piggyback off of what Tammy said, just around it being modeled and our parents really leading the way, right? We saw ourselves when our parents were saying, come to this civic meeting, right? Come to this event. Let's give back. Let's do service, right? And I think it's important that our youth understands and sees themselves in these roles. There's often times where it's like, oh, well, they'll take care of it, or someone else will do it. But really understand the impact of the roles that they have as leaders. And it's important that they have individuals who are in these roles who look like them, who believe in them, that they feel comfortable approaching and going to and saying, hey, I'm not really sure how to do this, or can you actually show me or support me along the way? I definitely think that advice that I would give youth is be the change you want to be. It is easy you see stuff on social media. There's always different causes and different problems. And it's easy to be like, well, that's not my problem. Right. But it's important to pause and take a stand and say, you know what, I have to make a difference here. And it may not be someone who's young, or someone who's a woman, or someone who has done this before. Right. But understanding that they can make it happen. An activity that is done with my students, every year we'll do a civic readiness project. So we just did something for the veterans. We did a mental health fair last week where students, last year, forgive me, where students decided to, of course, find something that they were passionate about. And I think as students, they often feel as though their voices are not enough.
Yes.
They don't feel heard, or adults will shut down their ideas.
Yes.
And students really need to know that their voices have so much power.
Thank you.
And there are moments where, you know, the adults will be like, well, stay in a child's place.
Oh, hello.
But we are in a society where now we need kids to speak up, to stand up, to advocate. And when they come together and work together, there's so much change that can happen. When we think of like the Black Panther movement or, you know, the sit-ins or just different those were students who took a stand and really ensuring that when we think of like the freedom riders, I don't know that students these days or children these days really understand that there's value in their voices. There's value in the work that they do. You don't have to be a certain age. You don't have to be a certain gender, height, or anything else. You just have to come together and build that sense of community and team, and know that it won't be easy. No one's saying it's easy, right?
It's a
There's
long
always going to be
road.
someone else who's been in the position or who seems as though they may be doing a better job. But there's something that you bring to the table, and especially with our youth, it's empowering them and pouring into them and them believing that I actually can and will do this, just with that sense of support and just belief in themselves and support from the community.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, it touches me to know that I'm passing the torch to these young women because nobody would know I'm like 60 years old. No, I'm only playing. That's how I feel sometimes. But it's that little girl who comes up to you and said, what you said to me today really, really got to me.
Yeah.
And again, it's not in the classroom
Yeah.
that students come up to me, but they be like, hi, Miss Tammy. Hi, Miss Tammy, in the hallway. Oh, that's Miss Tammy. Oh, and you know, and all the girls would gather in one space and just huddle and feel like they can do something. So just to see that you both being young, beautiful, Black, bold women with voices is empowering to the next generation. And again, I want to see the seal of civic readiness not only spread and scale up and grow within our community in Elmont and on Long Island, but let's get this in some other states. You know, we have it in Arizona, it's in California, it's in Nevada, it's in Georgia. Oh my gosh, that's my next trip. When I went to Clark Atlanta and stood there in front of Morehouse and Spelman, I'm like, this is the Mecca. This is where the student movement, civil rights movement began. These 3 schools. And then to hear students in Georgia say, what is redistricting? What is gerrymandering? What John Lewis voting rights? What?
It's crazy.
I'm like, okay, my generation is not doing their job.
Yeah. Can I just say something?
Yes.
You just reminded me. So 2 of my kids, I call them my kids. Still, I know they're like 20 now, but whatever. One goes to Hampton, one goes to Morehouse. And last year they were doing GOTV and in Hampton and Morehouse. And they would call me and I saw their social media posts and I was so proud of them. And before they left to go to school, they wanted to do like a party, like how can we get people registered to vote? And they were excited about it because their generation, like you said, like we need to be out there more, really getting these children engaged. So they had an early 2000s, because I told them about Vote or Die, how a rapper that shall not be named had a campaign vote or die, and everybody wore the vote or die shirts, and I was
Mm-hmm.
sending the pictures of like Paris Hilton and all this. So we got shirts that said vote or die, made by one of the kids' mothers, and then it was everyone dressed like it's the 2000s, and they had like little mocktails, like encouraging people to vote. And I said, because I said, what moves your generation?
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like partying. I said, okay, so let's do that. And we got people to register to vote. So I just wanted to
Like a day party.
yes, it was
I
a day
love
party.
it.
So I think also with our generation, we have to figure out they're not like us. We grew up analog and digitally. They've only known digital. They've only
Gotcha.
known. So we have to figure out how can we reach the youth. And if that's parties, if that's doing a 2000s party and making it
I love
this
it.
way, and then getting really getting the kids active in getting out the vote that
Yes.
way, then so be it. But yeah, so when you said that reminded me. So
I
yeah.
love that.
I really love that you mentioned that because during my campaign, we had like a party to the polls. And I think with our generation, it's the power of social media, the power of everyone getting out and just reposting and sharing, understanding. It's like, hey, let's all come together for
Yeah.
this party to the polls, or let's come together to ensure that, we're all doing a park cleanup together and you're sharing information, you're bringing out,
Yeah.
a few friends. It is their power. There's really power in our youth and in us coming together. And it's not going to be the same exact way that our parents did
Yeah,
it a few
yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
But it's like,
yeah.
how do we change that system? How do we
Yeah.
make sure that individuals are coming out and being supportive? And
That digital movement, that footprint, when you see other people out there doing the work or making it a family event, you're like,
Yes.
hold on, I gotta be there because they got the mom, the dad, the sister, the
FOMO.
brother.
Yeah.
It's everybody is out here. I'm missing the party.
Yeah.
It's party to the polls. I like that. I like those ideas. Okay, so young people, you hear that. We gonna get you out dancing in the streets. Go get one of those, if it's like the Eastern Parkway vibes, get the truck out. That was fun though. That's fun though. And get you out there and motivated. So now we got you out there and motivated. How do we keep you engaged? Because this I can't name the past elections, but this past 2025 election, more young people turned out than any demographics.
And I want to say, Madami, some people have a problem with him, but he's my age. Well, I'm older than him by 5 months.
Okay.
And I think the biggest difference in getting people engaged and why his campaign was so successful. And I'm looking at his campaign. I'm looking at Trump's campaign. I'm looking at Bernie Sanders' campaign. The three campaigns had something in common. It was about the people. It was about getting people who people seem to exclude often and making them feel like they had a voice, whether we agree with that voice or we don't. And I think that is how we are going to get people engaged and active. And I think with both parties, I think it's more so people are kind of stuck in the past of this is the way to do it. And well, I'm better than this person. But it's about what do the people need? People are hurting. People are just desperate nowadays. Mental health, suicide rates are up, and people are struggling to just put meals on their table. So we have to figure out how can we speak to those people, and how can people feel like I have a voice to help my community. I have a voice to really speak about what's going on today. And that's what's going to get people engaged. Something that's fresh, something that's, okay, this is not how it's normally done. This is not a part of the establishment. People are tired of the establishment. They want to know that they are heard. They want to know that their needs are going to be met. And that is how you kind of strike up a movement of people wanting to get involved. So, yeah.
Love it.
I agree. I think people want to see you and they want to feel you, right? It's easy to run a campaign and just be a name on a piece of paper, but really understanding that all groups want to feel a part of the process, right? Regardless of, any sort of marginalized group wants to know that you care, whether we're going into nursing homes, whether you're going to a prison, or whether you're going to different schools, communities, restaurants, right? Everyone wants to know that, you know what, my vote counts. I'm a part of this. I am still heard, because oftentimes, especially where we are now, it's like so many individuals are just, it's, oh, well, my vote doesn't count. right? They're not talking about me.
Yes.
This doesn't impact me. But we're seeing from local elections that it absolutely
Yes.
does.
Local,
right? So
local.
yes. Yep. So really ensuring that we're reaching the people and they feel connected with the individuals. And once you win, making sure that you're still going back to bring up those behind you and ensure that their voices are heard. Because oftentimes we're at the tables and it's like, well, this group does not matter. So I think making sure that you're bringing them to the table with you and speaking on their behalf.
Love it. Oh my gosh. It's the saying I love to say is act local, think global. It's all local. If I see an elected official in a coffee shop or at the grocery store, or I'm just like, oh man, good thing I took my rollers out my hair. I was just running to go get coffee or
Don't
my
go
bagel.
in the supermarket.
Supermarket, it's like, oh, was not expecting to see you, but hey, you pop up. Yeah. But it's a beautiful thing when you keep all of the issues or politics local and you do the work. You do the constituent services, you do client services, you meet people where they are, and don't forget that those who you see on your way up is the same people you're going to see on your way down. So always be humble, be humble.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. My last message to the youth that are on the fence about getting out there and making their voices heard, you have 2 examples, okay? That it's possible. You make the time. I appreciate you all coming through, and you have busy schedules, but you make the time and you give back because you're paying it forward because somebody did it for you. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. The Seal of Civic Readiness, again, is in the state of New York. Please don't be on the fence about it. It's a beautiful program. We are going to expand it in all of the other states here in America, okay, and beyond. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.